I'm Matthew Burbidge, and I'm joined this morning by Itumeleng Makgati, the Divisional Executive for Group Technology from Nedbank. Welcome.
Thank you, Matthew.
We're here at the 2025 ITWeb Security Summit at the Santa Convention Center. And we are doing a series of interviews today with cyber players. And I thought it'd be a good idea to get Itumeleng here to ask, for starters, what do you think are the most important cyber threats that the banking sector is facing? Not specifically Nedbank, but I would imagine it's quite similar to. You would see it similar in similar kind of attacks in all financial services.
Thanks, Matthew. And that's a very interesting question, because I think over the years, it doesn't really change much. The themes seem to be the same throughout the couple of years where we've been tracking this. But I think right now, financial services is really grappling with ransomware. Phishing is also one big factor that we're grappling with, as well as malware. And we're seeing this growing with intensity, considering that bad actors are now using AI as a way to make them more targeted and more executed at speed, if I can put it that way. So those are just, I'd say, top 3 themes that we continuously see.
Okay, so you're saying phishing and ransomware and
malware.
Okay, so the malware has obviously been around for a long time. But
Correct.
So, I mean, when you say when you say this is the facing the cyber threats facing the banking sector, I mean, is this your clients or is this the bank itself?
The bank itself. Direct.
Oh, yeah. So you'll have phishing attempts on your staff.
Absolutely.
You'll have, I would imagine, ransomware attempts.
Correct.
And then variety of malware coming into it
through different ways. It could be supply chain attacks, so it could be other ways to use malware to get to our data.
And how are you dealing with those things? I mean, how are you coping with all of that? I mean, that's what you're seeing, but I mean, and I would, that's probably par for the course for financial services institute. So how would you, that's what you're seeing, but what are you doing about it?
Yeah, how we approaching it is we're ensuring that we're rolling out next-gen technologies that will help us with detection of these threats as they come into our environment, and ensuring that we're able to see it early. The sooner we see a threat coming into our environment, and the quicker we respond. I think that's very important, because you can't get to a point where you always block threats coming into your environment. But what I also think is important is ensuring that our people are aware of these things, so that people can help us then manage and guard our data assets. So training our people, ensuring that our people are aware inside the security teams and across the business. Making people aware of these phishing attempts and identifying them and giving them tools to be able to report if they see anything suspicious goes a long way in ensuring that we're working as a collaborative effort to resolve all of these issues.
So, I mean, on that, I mean, there's obviously a lot of different kind of training and awareness programs. Any organization is probably what advice to do. So what kind of cyber awareness programs do you have there?
We go through a combination of trainings that we could do. In some cases, we would have online training that people need to go through on a defined regular basis, just to reiterate the message around security, reiterate the message around the culture of being aware and staying vigilant. But in some cases where we see it's a high-touch area that deals with sensitive information, it could be in your finance space or in your dealer space within the bank, you then spend more time in workshops to help them understand what the impact could be. But there's also training that is very specific to security professionals. How do we see these things? What is changing? What new information do we have that we need to take into consideration when we're handling our data? That continuous reinforcement of the message is quite important to us. And this goes across all levels, from the teller in the bank all the way to the executives, really based on the role that the person plays in the organization, the type of tools and data that they have access to. Then we can define the required training for that. So we really avoid having generic training for everyone that is the same.
Yeah.
Really, that doesn't serve the purpose. We need to understand what are we protecting and what do you then need to know to ensure that you're able to effectively use the data and the technology that has been given to you.
Yeah, I mean, excuse me. I mean, a lot of these cyber training programs you hear are, it's like they just kind of these things that staff think are just the kind of necessary evil, and they'll just click through there as quick as they can. And then, just get back to work. And I don't know how you ensure your, I don't know how you ensure that, I mean, how do you measure the effectiveness of your cyber awareness programs? I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
because it's just, it's one thing just to do like, training, but I mean, how is it working?
Absolutely. And I agree. It is a challenge. When you send people through training once a year, they will go and just click through and just to be compliant. But I think if you approach it from different angles where it's really baked into the culture of the organization, it's one way of looking at it, where it's not only driven by security, but you even get it from your HR partners, you even get it from your digital teams, everyone making security the core of the conversation. If we're doing this, is it secure for our clients? I think it's also important for people within the bank to understand that this is our license to operate. Our customers have trust in us. They use our technology because they believe we can protect it. So it's really, really important that we get this right. And our board expects that from us as an IT team and as an organization. So that's one way of looking at it. And also, it's not just about ticking the box, right? It's ensuring that you're able to paint the picture of what could go wrong. So sharing those stories around, we've seen this happen at another organization, and this is how they've been affected. This is how the scenario could play out. I think that's also important to expose people to that, so that it's not a far-fetched idea of we could have a cyber breach, but if you give real life examples of things that have happened and how other organizations have been impacted, it gives them that aha moment, like, oh my goodness, I could be that person that clicks on a link that's going to bring in malware into the organization and we lose our data. Imagine that headline that says you've been breached, your data has been lost. How does that impact you? How does it impact your brand? How does it? So it's very important that
I would imagine.
badly, of course, So seeing real life examples and sharing that within the organization, I think also makes that shift from people thinking security first, instead of thinking, well, IT will sort it out. I'm sure they'll find a way to protect me. Understanding that as an individual within this organization, I have a responsibility to protect the data that I have access to.
I just want to bring touch on something that you brought up there about trust. Is I had a call the other day from my bank's anti-fraud department, but I quickly worked out that it wasn't a call from my bank's.
Good for you, Matthew.
It took me a little while to realize.
Okay.
So, I mean, and it's a bit of a philosophical question. I'm just quite interested what you think about it. I mean, it's just like, are we not at a point now where we don't trust anything anymore? Okay, so, I mean, why is my bank phoning me? Why is any government department phoning me? Why is the city of Johannesburg phoning me? Why are, I mean, how does one think about things like that when I mean, especially if you get a call from your bank, I mean, that's I mean, what do you think, like, how have we got to this place? And I mean, how can we trust anything now?
Yeah.
You know?
I think a lot of things are shifting at such a fast pace these days. If you think about deep fakes, where they're able to take a voice that you would recognize and even use numbers that you could recognize to try and get you to share information through the phone. Those are things that are becoming real due to AI. AI tools are available to be able to do that, right?
There was just the one, yes, the where that guy got when he was scammed out of $50 million
Right.
on that call.
Yeah.
There were all those deep fakes, but that's the only case I've heard on it. I mean, don't you think it's the AI and the Gen AI is a bit overblown? I mean, are you seeing anything like that in your
No,
environment?
bad actors are using this. They absolutely leveraging it
How do you?
to clone voices.
Okay.
They can clone a voice.
Yeah.
They can clone, they would, because they have your data, they talk to you about things that are very specific to your accounts to make you believe, you talk about trust, to make you believe that this is the right person talking to you. So it really goes back to that zero trust principle. When someone phones you, even if they say, I'm from your bank, you have zero trust. You still need to validate that this person is the right person calling me. Hence, we also then using technology to alert you. When we see you on your app, you're also on a call. We have technology that can say, please verify that the person you're talking to is from the bank. Because that element is always there. Rather hang up
If I'm on the Nedbank app and
and you're on a call.
I'm on a call, what will my app say?
Your app will say, we can see that you are on a call while using the app. Are you sure that the person you're talking to is the person from the bank?
No.
And you can say yes or no. And you also have a right to say, look, I don't trust this conversation. Can I hang up and call you back so that you can initiate the call to the bank? So rather err on the side of caution and call the bank yourself, especially if they're requesting sensitive information. They're asking you about your last transactions, etc. I'd say zero trust should be your basis, where you validate and you initiate the call instead of someone on the line asking you for information.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's my contention, is that like we're getting to the point now where, you know, it's like if you get a call from your bank, I mean, there's immediately must be lights flashing. You should immediately be worried, you know, because if your bank phones you, I mean, why would they phone you? I mean, because of it would be like something urgent they need to talk to you about, or, I mean, why?
It might be, in some cases, they phone you because they're seeing some kind of fraud indicators on your account. So they need to get a hold of you to verify that. If they see that Matthew's busy tapping his card in Nigeria.
I knew we were going to say that.
And you are here in South Africa,
Singapore.
they need to call you urgently. They can't send you a message on your app.
Sure.
But for everything else, really, we are building the app for that experience so that you're able to engage fully just on the app. But there are cases where we need to contact you directly to verify certain things. But even in that case, as much as they're saying there's a fraud case on your account, you can still call the bank back as a way of verifying and ensuring that you are comfortable that you're talking to the right person.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's just, I mean, and I mean, I suppose the other thing that is worth mentioning, is that, the kind of, thinking now is that, because people, when they phone you, if they phone you, they're masters at putting you off balance. Okay. You'll be busy and something, and then they'll for something like that. I was on the airport running for a flight, and I saw your SARS return has been, generated, and I clicked on it. And I suppose, I mean, it's a question of like mindfulness. I mean, actually slowing down.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's something that I think is quite important. In this world, just
absolutely, because these bad actors actually work on that psychology, that people are busy, people are running from one thing to the next. You see something that says click, you're going to click because you're just not paying attention. So be mindful. Rather delay it if you're not sure to a time when you are in a space where you can process the information that's been presented to you instead of just clicking and being click happy, always ready to click. So it is a responsibility of individuals to manage their data access as well. As much as banks can provide the technology, you need to have your own way of dealing with all these things coming your way.
I mean, the one last, I think the last thing I would probably ask you is, we're spending all this money on security, and how does one actually quantify that? Because it's like, I mean, I don't know what a bank's cybersecurity spending would be, but it would probably be in the
significant.
1 million. So okay, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And I mean, along with hundreds of staff members to kind of keep it all running. But I mean, how do you actually quantify that to your board? I mean, with all the cybersecurity in the world, obviously, you obviously, you can't say, okay, I'm now 99% protected, or
No,
you
it changes all the time.
5% protected, or we're now 100% protected and nothing will ever touch us. You've seen that?
It's impossible.
You can't say that, obviously, but then your board is obviously asking you, and I suppose this would feed into GRC conversations as well. But I mean, how do you quantify that? How would you what are the metrics you would use to let your board sleep well at night?
You raise quite an important point. I mean, when you're saying that you can never give a number and say we are 99% because it changes every day. The playing field is constantly changing because we're working against bad actors that are constantly experimenting with different things in different ways. So what's true today might not be true tomorrow. So it's very important that when we paint the picture to the board and the senior leaders, we tell the story in a way that provides comfort that we are at least taking the right actions. Our security program is effective. And if we think about things like your penetration testing that we continuously do, so we test our systems end to end to ensure that if you come in at a certain point and there's a vulnerability, how far can you go and how quickly can we respond? If we give that picture to the board, they know that something might happen, but if it happens, the team has a plan on how to manage that. And working closely with our audit teams where you've audited the systems, you know where your vulnerabilities are, and you paint that picture to them to say, our key vulnerabilities have been mitigated, and this is how we mitigate it. That's also very important to the board. Really just clarifying how quickly can you respond if something was to come into the environment. I think boards have really come a long way over the years where they better understand security and the importance of security. And the question has shifted from, are we secure? Because they understand that you can never be 100% secure. It's always to what's the plan and how quickly can you recover? I think that's the most important answer to give when you talk to the board.
Yeah, I mean, if you're down for, I don't know, 5 minutes, you're going to get noticed. It'll get noticed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very quick it's a quick feedback system.
Yeah, you're down on detector. Yeah.
That's it.
Thanks, Itumeleng. Take your time.
Awesome. Thank you for the chat.
Thanks.
Great stuff.